Hey, how's everyone doing? Peter Putney here. I wanted to give you guys an update about some stuff that's been going on in our street ministry and our witnessing, and some opposition we've had from the police and different things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, and how God has been helping us through that opposition. So, about 2 weeks ago, we were out on the street ministry, and we went downtown Rio Negro like we normally do. We have a portable speaker, and so we set up this portable speaker. I set up my microphone. We have verse signs, big signs that have Bible verses on them, and we set those up in different areas throughout the main, kind of the main park of the city. And then we'll preach the gospel using the portable speaker, and people will walk by and see the signs or stop and listen to the gospel being preached. And then also people will be walking around passing out tracts and talking to people one-on-one. Well, I got there and we started setting up the speaker just like we normally do. And I was confronted by two gentlemen who were representatives of the city, and they told me that I could not have verse signs, and I could not, in public places in the city of Rio Negro here in Colombia, and I could not preach, whether I used the microphone or not. I was not allowed to preach on the street or in public. And so I told them, I said, well, you're going to have a police officer tell me that. That doesn't sound right to me. And so he came back with two police officers, and they proceeded to tell me the same thing, that I was not permitted to do this. I was not permitted to preach. I was not permitted to even have the signs with the Bible verses where they could publicly be seen. And it applied not just to that park, it applied to any public place in the entire city. And so they just were shutting us down, and they said that I needed to have a permit. And I said, well, I don't have a permit, but how do I get a permit then if I'm going to be preaching on the street, or if I'm going to have a verse sign? And they said, well, you have to go to the mayor's office, but I can tell you right now, we will not give you a permit. And I thought, wow. So we just, that was kind of a little bit of an interesting opposition. Took us by surprise. But we had to put our verse signs away, and we had to just go to one-on-one personal work and passing out tracts. Now, thankfully, they allowed us to pass out tracts, and we were not bothered as we went to people individually on the streets talking to people. But just reminded me that we don't need to take for granted the freedoms that we have in the United States. And, as an American, we think of our First Amendment rights to, if I'm anywhere, maybe if I'm on private property, someone can kick me off. But if I'm in a public property, I have the right to speak. I have the right to speak publicly if I want to. I have a right to have a sign. And that is not necessarily the case here in Colombia. And so, thankfully, however, on Sunday, we went to El Carmen, where we are beginning to go weekly in an attempt to begin a work in El Carmen, and we were able to put out our signs and preach the gospel in public without being bothered. So how long that will last, we'll find out if the city of El Carmen bothers us or not. So please keep us in prayer in that regards, that God would protect his work, that we would not have any more issues with the police in this regards. But it just kind of gives you an idea of kind of some of that opposition that missionaries face on the mission field. And Colombia is a country where we have supposed religious freedom, but we're seeing more and more opposition towards any type of Christian church. And it was kind of funny to me as they were telling me that I could not have a sign in public with a Bible verse on it. Right across the courtyard there of the park was a gigantic Catholic church that for Easter they had probably 7 or 8 life-size statues of different saints that were just right there in the middle of the park. And I thought to myself, wow, this is convenient, shutting down the Bible, but not shutting down religious tradition. And that's sadly what many missionaries face. So keep your missionaries in prayer. And thanks for taking the time to watch this video and find out what's going on here in Colombia. Be sure to subscribe to our channels. I'll try to keep putting updates from the mission field and what's going on. Thanks a lot. God bless.